Join me as I challenge myself to eat weeds from my backyard for a whole week. Let's see if I can turn these pesky plants into a free feast. First up is dandelion. Dandelion provides great nutrition in the form of vitamin K1, vitamin A, and vitamin C. It's also a good source of iron, potassium, and trace minerals. Just be sure and clip it above the ground level. And now it's time to get the mise en place in place for the 3 recipes that we'll be creating today. Chopped onions, dandelions, grated carrot, biscuit mix, eggs, water, cream, butter, oil, herbs de Provence, salt and pepper. We're going to start by sautéing the dandelions and the onions. We're using a little bit of butter and olive oil. And as soon as the butter begins to foam, you add your onions. And what we're looking for here is just a light golden color. So we're going to constantly move them around the pan and stir them a little, watching them constantly. What we're after is that slight caramelization that the golden color means. This is going to add a sweetness to the bitterness of the greens. Then just put your greens in. As soon as the greens hit the hot oil, they will begin to wilt and turn a darker green. Constantly stir them up, exposing them to the heat of the pan and the oil that's contained in the onions. Our first recipe is dandelion leaf fritters. Chopped dandelion leaf, minced onion, grated carrot, biscuit mix, 1 egg, salt and pepper, water as needed. First, I dump the biscuit mix into the greens with the carrots and toss them around to mix them together. I do this so that when I do add the egg, they will mix together more completely. Next, I crack in the egg. I break it and stir it through the mixture very thoroughly. But because of the biscuit mix, the chemical reaction will not work. I need to add water to bring the chemical reaction of the baking powder into the mix and make it work. And again, beat it thoroughly. Then I scrape the bowl down and divide the mixture into 2 equal portions. Then I add some oil to the pan. And as soon as it starts to shimmer, I know it's hot enough to put the green mixture in. You'll notice that it's not soupy, it's just the right texture and makes great patties. And because the pan was cold and I put hot oil into it, it was a cold pan and I put hot oil into it, it will not stick with the patties, even though they have milk and eggs. As soon as it begins to turn golden, flip it over. It'll take a little longer on this second side to cook. Sometimes if you hold the patty down with a spatula gently, it will help it cook better. They're done. Let's take them out of the pan and add some yogurt. One of the things I miss about France is not having hot sauce. So in this instance, I'm going to add a little red pepper flakes. Oh, here's my Julia Child moment. Way too much salt. So I just scrape it off, put it back in the spoon, and then back into the salt container and go on about my business. Oh, that's good. Delicious. And for our next recipe, sautéed dandelion and onion omelet. We're going to use some of the dandelion and onion that we've already sautéed, eggs, salt and pepper, water as needed, butter and oil. First, I break my 2 eggs into a separate dish. Then I break the yolk and add just a tablespoon or so of water. This helps to lighten the omelet. And then I whisk it firmly and turn my pan on. There's a little bit of melted butter in there. And as soon as the butter begins to foam, I'll add the eggs. There goes the foam. Notice my brand new DeBuyer omelet pan. I am really excited to use it. And true to its name, it doesn't stick. I love it. I lift the omelet and let it flow down to cover the pan. This helps to cook it completely because we're only going to flip it once. We're not going to constantly stir it. I'm adding the dandelion greens now and the sautéed onion. And a little bit of Emmental cheese. And I flip it over. And get it ready to serve. As you take it out of the pan, sort of turn it over so that it helps to finish it and keep the heat in. At this point, you could add more cheese or yogurt or sour cream or hot sauce, and it was delicious. The last recipe is dandelion baked eggs. Again, we're using dandelion and onion chopped and sautéed with a dollop of butter, 1 egg per person, cream is needed, herb de Provence, salt and pepper. First, I'm going to add the sautéed greens to the bottom of the ramekin. Then I'm going to add a dollop of butter. Then I'll break the egg. A little bit of cracked black pepper. And I grind my herbs de Provence. I believe it gives it a fresher taste. And then I'm going to cover that all with cream. I put the ramekin in a separate dish or plaque or pan, so that when I put it into the oven, I don't have to worry about spilling the contents of the ramekin through the grate of the oven. And when it's done and the pan is hot, it will be much easier to take it out again without the chance of spilling. And there you have it, baked eggs. These eggs were about 15 minutes. The reason being is that because the ramekin was deeper and not as open and flat as a gratin dish, it took about 15 minutes.
Yum.
The gratin dish will probably take only 10 minutes or so to cook your egg, and maybe not as deep. If you're feeling adventurous, I encourage you to try to forage for edible weeds yourself. Just make sure to do your research and be careful. Share your experiences with foraging in the comments below. And if you're interested in more videos on cooking with wild ingredients, check out my next video, which will be on cooking with nettles. And thank you for watching. A biento.